Hello everyone. This is actually going to be a weird combination of footage. I'm going to have recommendations on the Leper as well as which people he's good with and stuff. I'm going to have a little bit of gameplay from here that I'll actually talk over later, so I'm not as distracted. So you will see the webcam go off when I'm in actual battle. I'll try to explain, at least that's what I'm thinking right now. Or I'll use previous footage and talk about that one. I'm not entirely sure yet. But I do want to talk about the skills and who goes well with the Leper here. I am on the second level, can't remember, but that's not really important. So we're going to talk about all of his skills. I am missing, what, 2 of them right now? Actually, just 1 of them. But I really just want to talk about his base 5, to be honest, because I think his base 5 are good enough. You don't really need to go unlock all the other ones. We can talk about them a little bit, but I'm not really as interested in those as the base 5, as I said before. So I'll actually I had almost all of them. So Chop's pretty much the reason why people hate or love the Leper right here. Obviously, it's his main damage based ability. You get 60% blind with it upgraded, 75% if it's not. It is 6 to 12 unupgraded, 6 to 16. So the back end gets upgraded, but the reason why we upgrade Chop with your first mastery point is because the Highwayman with point blank blast here, regardless of upgraded or not, it always gives the combo token. So obviously you give your Highwayman a little bit of speed, you point blank, then you get Chop. I have earlier footage of these two, but it doesn't really work out because he has early riser, and the +2 speed actually was really ruining this combination, as you can see here. So without the trinket, he had 6, and he has 5. Therefore, he was actually getting 7 speed, or just right around the same amount at speed as the Highwayman, and wasn't always working out. Now that we got a 10 to 5 difference, Dismas almost always points blanks first, which means we get to essentially avoid Chop. So this couple right here, the Highwayman and Leper, is actually a phenomenal couple. Another one we can talk about later, and we'll actually, sorry, right now, is the Man-at-Arms and the Leper. And I'm just going to creep forward a little bit. The Man-at-Arms and the Leper are really good because of, obviously, command. So command's phenomenal. It gets rid of blinds on people, so obviously even if you are getting blinds, you can take them off, which is excellent. Now, if you have an excess of blinds and you don't have something like an upgraded skill or point blank didn't go off, you don't have a Man-at-Arms or a Runaway, sorry for the little skip right there, I forgot the name of the Runaway. She has an ability called Hearthlight. When Hearthlight is upgraded, she can actually remove blind off of allies, which is really good actually, because typically a lot of enemies apply blind, especially the final boss as well. So actually having that ability on may not be terrible. So right there's 3 characters who can really help out the Leper, and then obviously the Leper can always help himself out with the ability to do Reflection, removes his own blinds. This upgrades eventually to -2 stress. I forget the little extra you get right there, but so -2 stress whenever you won, removes your own blinds, so it's pretty good. But in this example, this battle actually right here, I will just quickly show you just a little bit of what a level 2 Leper can kind of do. As you see, the Dismas will be going first. I actually didn't even have to Noxious Blast this guy. I probably should have done Blinding Gas. I'm not really here to give out battle tips in the current moment. We will get to those when they are appropriate. So we can do a point blank, doesn't kill him. We have a blind, so we don't even need to touch this dude anymore because he's completely dead to the Leper, and that's what I'm saying. We can immediately get past the fact we don't even have to worry about the Leper missing, right? This dude is 100% dead. There's just not a chance in the world he's going to miss. And right now with 15% damage on, we're looking at 9 to 23. We hit the minimal, so that's always great. Now we do get to the point where like, ooh, we're at 2 blinds, right? That's when you do kind of have to just say, you know what? We're going to kind of just cut, ooh, nice. We're just going to kind of cut our losses short here, and we're just going to do Reflection, right? Because he does have 2 stress on. So in this instance, we can set up a point blank next turn actually. So just Reflection. Now, if you don't like the fact he only really gets to go maybe every other turn if you don't have someone like a Man-at-Arms or a Runaway, maybe try the Runaway in the Man-at-Arms. Maybe that's what you just need. Maybe you've found out that you're like, you know what, it just drives me crazy that he is only every other turn. Have someone solely focus into him as the like, hey, we're going to make sure that you are the one who's going to get everything you need. And the other thing I really love the Leper, that Darkest Dungeon 2 specifically, is really limiting and cracking down on, is essentially sustainability. Now, I don't know if he'll eventually get patched. I'm super hoping he doesn't, because he's obviously able to heal himself at a certain HP, which, you know, everyone has to do, which is a shame. But the really cool thing is his stress damage is not contingent, and that's where the really cool thing is, because a lot of people are so contingent based on like 5 or more stress, such as the skill Aspiring Tune. You have to be at least at a minimal 5 stress plus. Now it can take away 3, but the Leper, he doesn't really care about that. I mean, I could let him sit here and once we're done with this, unless he heals the stress off of him, which he did. That's why relationships are good, kids. I can just generically remove 2 stress. Even though I'm not going to get the heal, I can get rid of the stress, or I can just use Reflection if it wasn't on cooldown. Now we got 9 to 23. I mean, even if I was blind, I wouldn't miss. So I did get a blind token back. There's obviously items I get rid of that. We already talked about the characters who get rid of that as well. It's just something you have to get used to. I would argue to use the Leper. So this, once again, this video is kind of say why the Leper, right? Even if you have Purge on, and there's bodies, even if you miss with Purge, you can actually still clear all the corpses as well. So he can still clear corpses. I mean, it's still a 50% chance to hit. It's not like it's a 0. Now, granted, do you want to, like, completely take the chance? Oh, man. Do you want to completely take the chance that he's not gonna... I just didn't want to kill me. I wanted to heal one more time. That's okay. But yeah, so Purge will get rid of a blind. It'll remove all the corpses, regardless if you actually hit or not. And if you do hit, it removes that blind, removes the corpses, brings everyone else up. Now, I do like the Plague Doctor because of the... If you have all the skills, Magnesium Rain is actually phenomenal. With the Leper, obviously, because of the corpse clearing, so he doesn't have to do it himself. However, if he needs to in a pinch, he can definitely clear his own corpses, which is really good. He can sustain his own HP, which is really good. That's not everything everyone can say. And obviously he can also reduce his own stress early, not later. So if you're near an end of the fight and you're just kind of doing your normal, like, okay, let's wrap this up and keep moving kind of thing, well, guess what? He can take care of himself. You don't need to worry about him. So I think he's really good in that aspect in regards. Alright, I actually put on some Milk Soak bandages onto the Highwayman, so you can actually see how you can also feed the Leper that way. So if you don't want to just do skills or combo tokens, you can always buy Milk Soak bandages. They are sold at the pharmacies. You can pick them up. They can be at ends at the end of area. So we'll show one more fight of why I think the Leper is really good. Relationships are important. We'll talk about those in later episodes. That's obviously not the key point of this one, but we'll show one more fight with the Leper in here. This is once again level 2 gameplay, hastened enemies. That'll be annoying, but we can get by with it. Also, one last thing I do want to mention about, and I haven't upgraded it yet, but if I can get some decent points here in mastery, we're gonna upgrade Withstand. Withstand is an amazing ability. It is the tanking skill / aggro tanking skill that... Oh man, they just healed. I wanted the Jester to do that. That's okay. Because Withstand will obviously make enemies attack him. And as we just talked about, eventually if you upgrade Solemnity, or just in general 33% HP back as well, or even generic stress skills, he's got the capabilities to heal through all of it. So when using Withstand, certain boss fights, it's really good. Certain enemy comps, it's really good. If you got someone on death's door and they can only attack one person, not 2 people, where if they're death's door in the back row, most likely they're not going to be able to hit. You know what I mean? There's so many options that it's almost crazy not to upgrade Withstand, in my opinion. Kind of a joke in the first game, you know, and we all know that, but they made it really good in Darkest Dungeon 2. I highly recommend Withstand. That way stuff like that wouldn't happen. Well, it would, but just wouldn't be on a Highwayman who doesn't have the capability of healing his HP as well. And we don't really want that either. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to steal that 75% protection right there. Now he's blind, so what we could do is just go for that. We could Smoke Bomb. We could Purge, but we don't want to Purge against this guy. So it's a miss. I got it back. Once again, we can always use an item there. And like I said, that is just it's just the reality, man. If you can't deal with the occasional miss, or maybe every other turn miss, I guess I would recommend you stay away, but I think there's way too... With Darkest Dungeon 2's... This sounds weird. No chance of missing unless you have a blind token. I think it's too good. Obviously, you can miss if you have a blind token, but if you get away from the blind token, he's just a large, chunky person who can hit. Like, it's weird, but it feels kind of like a no-brainer in my eyes. I'm like, look, you can get a guy who can swing for the fences through 3 characters and an item, like guaranteed, you know. The best you could do in the first Darkest Dungeon is ramp up the battle ballads, give him a good trinket, and maybe find a way to reduce enemies' dodge, right? There's a couple of ways you could do it. And right here's another reason why I like him is, well, Purge, it gets rid of the blind token, didn't even have to hit the body, boom, there we are. Now also there's a trinket in this game where you get crit tokens for missing. So you get a blind, you purge, if you miss, you clear the bodies regardless, and then you get a crit token on top of that, and it's just like, okay, then now like the game's over. And he can do minimum damage like that stuff without giving himself a blind token as well. So it's not like he's always in this weird scenario where you always have to blind himself. Always has he just does not have to always be blinding himself. And once again, I don't actually want to kill because I want to give one heal to this guy. And then we'll hope we're quick enough to give a little wicked slice right in this. So, and I was not. And that may come back to bite me. 5 stress, that's fine. But the plague doctor has to go. Sorry, just talking. But yeah, I think the Leper, I know Hellion is probably the other class where people were like, oh, why don't you just pick the Hellion? She's so much better. I'll be honest, maybe unpopular opinion, I'm not a huge fan of the Hellion. Her base damage is actually what bothers me. I know it sounds kind of silly, but like, I just don't dig her base damage. I think her upgraded skills are like 6 to 8. I know you can obviously beef it out and she gets near death's door and they get slightly better and stuff like that, but her base damage hasn't really ever impressed me. And also, I think the sustainability of the Leper is obviously more focused on him. The Hellion can do across the party for the -1 stress heal, but she does take that winded condition, which you then have to get off and stuff, which to me almost feels like a blind token, because essentially you have reduced damage. So even though you may hit 3 turns in a row, it could easily be 1 or 2 turns of the Leper, depending on your damage swing. I hope I could at least convince you a little bit. We'll watch the last shrine of the Leper here. We'll get that last 2 skills. We'll talk about the skills entirety, but I highly recommend him. So let's look at a beautiful view here. I'll try to increase the volume so I don't have to too much in video. Let's go.
Satisfied that the spirit of his benevolent tenure would endure, he abdicated the throne. People gathered at windows and along the roads, weeping, some threw petals at his feet, while others watched in reverent stoicism. As he walked beyond the city gates, he marveled at the beauty of the world, and was grateful for his many blessings.
Yeah, it's a nice, decent ending. But I'm more interested in is these 2 skills, and obviously the battle mastery point. Yes, give it to me. So Bash. So the immobilized self is actually what could be really good against Harvest Child. And Ruin self. Wait. 1 damaged plus 20% damage. So I guess when he's hurt, he gets 20. I'd have to read into that a little more. I'm not sure if that makes too much sense to me. So if I'm missing HP, I just use Ruin then, and then I get more damage. That's what it sounds like. Self, 1 damage plus 20%. Yeah, so if I'm hurt, I use it and I gain 20% damage. Okay. So now that I have the whole Leper kit, it's honestly, it's gonna sound kind of funny. It's hard for me to get away from the base 5 here. I'm gonna say which one I would take off if you have ability clear corpses. Purge. I think Purge is extremely useful, and I'm half tempted to say Reflection, but because Reflection can remove 2 and stress, I keep it on. Revenge upgrade is actually pretty good. It gets rid of obviously your sword debuffs and all that stuff. Heal. It's 3 to 7. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see what it's like when it's upgraded, but I'm assuming it just increases a little bit of damage. It could not be bad. It could be decent. Revenge is pretty good. Intimidate, I'm not sure why you just wouldn't use Withstand, my honest opinion, right now. Now, Intimidate may get a little better with the upgrade, but I'm not sure. Ruin, I have to look into that. I feel like it would take too much time. I feel like it's ending boss criteria. Break, I don't know. And then Bash, like I said, that could actually be a really good Harvest Child ability. So overall, I think we have some good stuff on him. I think for generic fun, not in enemy combat, I think you just keep those 5, and maybe once you get to the boss, you do Revenge. You do get 2 or 3 turns where you actually get that increased damage token, like I said, and you just throw Milk Soaked Linens and Hearthlight at him. You just always remove that blind, and then he should be crushing for, like, what is that, 14 to 30 right now? I mean, that's huge on a boss. If you get like 2 20s, that's almost half the boss's HP gone. I don't know if you can really compete with that. That's so much damage, and not many people can boast that they can actually do that level of damage. like I said, I hope I could convince you to at least give him another try. I know the Leper is a controversial figure from the first game because of his misses, and this game he obviously has the same, though I think his speed's pretty trash. My guy's only a little fast because of early riser gives him +2 if the torch is greater, so never mind. So when the torch is a little lighter, he actually has decent speed. Right now it's but like I said, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you find the Leper useful. If you haven't tried the Leper, I would. Would I prioritize his shrines? No, I think his first 5 skills are so good, you don't actually need to prioritize them at all. That's a testament to how good. Oh wow, stealing my glory, -2. That's a whole separate issue once again with relationships. We will have a video on that. Thank you for watching.